Hey, this is Chris from Survivortise, and I'm going to try to do a quick 10-minute crash tutorial on how to do a 550 Paracord King Cobra bracelet. Today we're going to be using adjustable shackles. We're going to take 1 second and talk about my jigs. I don't use big wooden jigs like everybody with all the measurers. I like using clamps, and I just run my shackles between 2 pieces of cord, and that way I can work with it a lot freer. We're using adjustable shackles. We're going to do a 2-tone bracelet. This is about 10 to 12 foot pieces of 550 paracord. We're going to go ahead and bond our ends. So I like using a Zippo on this. There's really no way of doing this without burning yourself, but you don't want your paracord to catch on fire. Kind of want to melt it and let it get nice and soft and squishy. So you have your ends nice and hot. Stick them together, push them for a second, squeeze around your bond. You're going to burn yourself a little bit, let it cool, pull on it, make sure you've got a nice tight bond, and there you go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run through our bottom piece here, doing a brown and copperhead bracelet, chocolate brown and copperhead. So you never want to you always want your bond to be offset so it's hidden inside your bracelet. So make sure you're off a little bit. Run up through the top of your shackle here. I'm going to go over, up through the top, like that. Alright, now we're going to start our first crossover. We want our outside color to be this copperhead, so that means we're starting with the brown. So here we go with the brown. Over, bring your brown over. Cross over with your copperhead, bring it back up and through the loop. Now, pull tight. You want a nice tight cinch there, okay? Now you're going to come back over with your brown. Brown's your first color, so remember, whatever your main color is on that pass, that's your crossover color. Brown over, cross it with the copperhead, up and through the loop, okay? Now, we're going to try to pick it up a little bit. Always crossing over with your brown. Now the trick to paracord is you want to keep your knots really tight and consistent. The tighter the knot, the better the quality the bracelet's going to be. You want to always use American paracord. You're always going to see deals on cord. Don't buy cotton cord. Cotton's terrible. Doesn't melt right, doesn't tie right. First time you get it wet, feels all gross. It just doesn't, it's not the real deal. This stuff, you want nice nylon based cord that gives you your best knots. And you got to have a lot of calluses to do this too. I mean, the first time anybody does this, you're going to have trouble, you know. But the tighter, just remember, tighter and consistent. If you go loose and then tight, your bracelet's going to look funky. It's going to look wide and thin. You got to make sure that all your knots are consistent every time. You see, we're still going down now. The single weave is the thinner bracelet. That's called Cobra weave, okay? When you come back over it, which is what we're going to do the cross color, it's called King Cobra. We'll get to that. All right, now you're at your bond. You want to make sure you get a couple of really nice tight pulls there. You want to make sure that it doesn't show through. Keep going. Fly on past that. Tight, consistent knots. See, we're getting down near the bottom. Like squeezing one more knot in whenever I can. Getting that extra tight. Alright, now watch what we're going to do. We're going to switch around. Okay, now the top is the bottom and the bottom is the top. Okay, you were crossing over with brown before, remember? So now what we're going to do is we're going to cross over with the copperhead. What you want to do is the same thing you were doing was a core, but right over your Cobra weave. You're going to cross over, under, and up through the loop, just like you were doing before. And what do you want to do? You want to interlock, just like a little puzzle piece. Look at that. See how you got that little, interlocking thing going on there. See, bam. And once you got one, you just keep going. They all just fall right into their slot, just where they're supposed to go. Same thing as before, crossing over with your copperhead, over with your brown, up through the loop, just a knot, and just continuously make sure that your whatever color is your middle color, it's always your crossover, okay? Now, the reason I make these videos is because I encourage everybody to do this. Make your own. Get some cord, buy your shackles, you can use buckles, you can use knots, beads. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to make clasps for these. I mean, there's endless possibilities. You can create anything. You know I make these look really easy, but once you start getting into all those charm and beaded bracelets that I do, that stuff is really complicated and a pain in the butt and tedious. This is the most basic, the easiest, and believe it or not, they look the best too, you know. I mean, they turn out nice every time, especially if your knots are consistent. Once you've done like 4 or 5, you'll understand. And it kind of, either you're going to love it and you won't be able to stop, or you'll never want to do it again. Okay, we're getting down near our bottom here. Now we're going to talk about cutting and burning, okay? So, everybody has a different way of finishing off their ends. Man, I've seen some crazy stuff. But the number one most important thing is no matter what, you don't want this thing coming undone unless it's time for it to come undone. Okay? That's the trick. So now we're down to our bottom. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this off here. Stick it here. All right? Now, hold your finger on the back because you don't want that sliding through. You're going to leave yourself a little bit of nub there. This is how I do them, and you can do them however you want. I'm just going to show you how I do them. You want a nice plug on there, okay? So take your lighter. You don't want to really catch it on fire, but you do want to melt it, melt it, melt it. Reminding you that you will burn yourself doing this. Paracord, I mean. You're gonna eventually burn yourself with press nice and flat. Look at that. Make a big old plug. While it's still warm, come around to the other side there. Pull that side nice and tight. Hold your finger on the back there so your brown doesn't slide through. Leave yourself just a little nub on that one. Same thing with your lighter. Nice big flat plug, okay? Undo your shackles from your jig or whatever you've got it hooked up to. You know, when it comes to doing these shackles really are the way to go. I mean, if you're willing to spring for them, they are the deal, okay? It's the easiest way. It's heavy duty. If you ever really need a survival bracelet, you're going to have it. And there you go. One survival bracelet. You now have kind of made it yourself. You can find these on my website, www.survivorties.com. There's a link to our Facebook page there. It's very easy to message me and see whatever we got going on, events where we are. I sell cord and shackles. If you ever have any questions about distributors or where to buy stuff, you can always get a hold of me. Thanks for watching.